Are you eating fish thinking you're doing something healthy for your body, but actually you might be poisoning yourself without even knowing it? If you're over 60 and you've been adding fish to your diet because your doctor told you it's good for your heart and your brain, you need to hear this right now because some of the most popular fish sold in American grocery stores are actually doing the complete opposite, and they're weakening your heart, destroying your memory, and filling your body with toxins that could lead you straight to a stroke or even dementia. And the worst part is that one of these fish is probably sitting in your freezer right now, or maybe you had it for dinner last night without having any idea of the danger you're putting yourself in. My name is Dr. Rebecca Parker. I've worked as a physician for over 20 years, and today I focus specifically on senior health, and I can tell you from decades of experience that this is one of the most dangerous misconceptions I see among seniors across America. And it breaks my heart every single time because people think they're making healthy choices. They think they're protecting themselves, but instead they're slowly damaging the two most important organs in their body, their heart and their brain, and by the time they realize something is wrong, it might already be too late. You're not alone in this confusion because the food industry has done an incredible job at marketing fish as this perfect health food. And yes, some fish are absolutely wonderful for you, but others are loaded with mercury, with toxic chemicals, with heavy metals that accumulate in your body over time. And when you're over 60, your body doesn't eliminate these toxins as efficiently as it used to, which means they build up in your tissues, in your organs, in your brain, and they start causing serious damage that shows up as heart palpitations, as memory loss, as confusion, as fatigue, and eventually as life-threatening conditions that could have been completely avoided if you had just known which fish to stay away from. Let me tell you about a patient I had, a 67-year-old woman named Margaret from a small town in Ohio, and she came to my office completely desperate because she was experiencing severe memory problems. She was forgetting names, forgetting appointments, getting lost driving to places she'd been going to for decades, and her heart would race for no reason at all. And when I asked about her diet, she told me with such pride that she ate fish 4 times a week because her previous doctor had told her. It was good for her brain, and I'll never forget the look on her face when I explained to her that the type of fish she was eating, which was tilapia and king mackerel, was actually one of the main reasons her symptoms were getting worse. And within 3 months of eliminating those toxic fish and replacing them with the right kinds, her memory started coming back, her heart stabilized, and she got her life back. If this is resonating with you, if you've been eating fish regularly thinking you're doing the right thing, hit that like button right now because this information could literally save your life, and I want to make sure it reaches as many seniors as possible across America. Now let me explain why this is happening and why it's so dangerous, especially for those of us over 60. Your body is like a delicate ecosystem, and when you're younger, your liver and your kidneys work incredibly efficiently to filter out toxins and heavy metals. But as we age, and this is just a natural part of getting older, these organs slow down. They become less effective, and toxins that would have been eliminated quickly when you were 30 or 40 now stay in your system for weeks, for months, sometimes even years, and they accumulate in your fatty tissues, in your brain, in your heart muscle. And they start causing inflammation, oxidative stress, and cellular damage that leads to all the conditions we fear most as we get older. Mercury is one of the worst offenders here, and it's found in dangerous levels in certain types of fish. And what mercury does inside your body is absolutely terrifying because it crosses something called the blood-brain barrier, which is supposed to protect your brain from harmful substances. But mercury slips right through it, and once it's in your brain, it attaches to your neurons. It disrupts the electrical signals that allow your brain cells to communicate. And over time, this leads to memory loss, confusion, difficulty concentrating, mood changes, and in severe cases, it can contribute to dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And this isn't just theory. This is documented in medical research. And I've seen it happen to patients right in front of me. But mercury doesn't just attack your brain, it also goes after your heart, and it does this by promoting inflammation in your blood vessels, by increasing oxidative stress, which damages the cells that line your arteries, and by interfering with your heart's electrical system, which can cause irregular heartbeats, palpitations, and even increase your risk of heart attack and stroke, and according to studies from the American Heart Association. High levels of mercury in the body are directly linked to increased cardiovascular disease in seniors, and this is happening to thousands of people across America right now who have no idea that the fish they're eating is slowly destroying their heart. The first fish you need to avoid immediately, and this is number 4 on my list, but it's still extremely dangerous, is king mackerel. And I know this might surprise some of you because mackerel in general has a good reputation. But king mackerel specifically is one of the highest mercury fish you can possibly eat, and it's commonly found in seafood markets, especially in coastal areas from Florida all the way up to the Carolinas. And the problem is that king mackerel is a large predatory fish that lives for many years, and it feeds on smaller fish that already contain mercury, and every time it eats, that mercury accumulates in its flesh. And by the time it ends up on your plate, it's carrying mercury levels that are dangerously high, especially for seniors whose bodies can't handle this toxic load. When you eat king mackerel regularly, and I've seen patients who are eating it 2 or 3 times a week because they thought all mackerel was healthy, that mercury goes straight into your bloodstream, and from there it travels to your brain and your heart. And it starts causing damage that you might not even notice at first. Maybe you feel a little more forgetful, maybe your heart skips a beat occasionally, but over time these small symptoms turn into serious problems, and the scary part is that mercury stays in your body for months. So even if you stop eating king mackerel today, the damage that's already been done will take a long time to reverse. The second fish you must eliminate from your diet, and this is number 3 on my list, is swordfish, and this is another large predatory fish that's extremely popular in American restaurants and grocery stores, especially in places like Whole Foods and higher-end seafood markets, and people love swordfish because it has a meaty texture and a mild flavor. But what they don't realize is that swordfish contains some of the highest mercury levels of any fish in the ocean, even higher than king mackerel, and the FDA itself has issued warnings specifically telling older adults, pregnant women, and young children to avoid swordfish completely. But somehow this message isn't getting through, and I still see seniors buying swordfish steaks thinking they're making a healthy choice. The reason swordfish is so contaminated is because it's at the very top of the ocean food chain. It's a massive fish that can live for decades, and it spends its entire life eating smaller fish that are already contaminated with mercury from industrial pollution, and all of that mercury concentrates in the swordfish's flesh. And when you eat just 1 serving of swordfish, you could be consuming mercury levels that exceed the safe weekly limit recommended by health organizations and for seniors. This is especially dangerous because your body is already dealing with age-related decline in organ function, and adding this toxic burden on top of that is like throwing gasoline on a fire. I remember another patient, a 72-year-old man named Robert from Michigan, who was a retired auto worker, and he loved fishing, and he loved eating swordfish whenever he could afford it. And he started developing what his previous doctor thought was early-stage Alzheimer's because he was having severe memory problems and confusion. But when I ran some tests, I found that his mercury levels were off the charts. And once we eliminated swordfish from his diet and started a detoxification protocol, his cognitive function improved dramatically within 6 months, and it turned out it wasn't Alzheimer's at all. It was mercury poisoning from the fish he thought was keeping him healthy. Now let's talk about the third fish on this list, which is number 2, and this one is going to shock a lot of you because it's one of the most commonly eaten fish in America, and that fish is tuna. Specifically certain types of tuna like big eye tuna and albacore tuna, which is the kind that usually comes in those cans labeled white tuna that you can find at any grocery store from Walmart to Kroger to Safeway. And millions of seniors across this country are eating tuna sandwiches for lunch or tuna salad thinking it's a healthy protein source, but what they don't know is that they're consuming dangerous levels of mercury with every single bite. Now I need to be clear here because not all tuna is equally dangerous. Light tuna, which usually comes from smaller skipjack tuna, has much lower mercury levels and can be eaten in moderation. But albacore tuna and big eye tuna, which are larger fish, have mercury concentrations that are 3 to 4 times higher. And the problem is that tuna is so convenient. It's cheap. It's available everywhere. It lasts forever in your pantry. And it's easy to prepare, so people eat it multiple times a week, without realizing the cumulative effect this is having on their body. Mercury from tuna doesn't just cause memory problems and heart issues. It also affects your nervous system in ways that can show up as tingling in your hands and feet, as difficulty with balance and coordination, as tremors, and as changes in your vision and hearing. And these are all symptoms that seniors often dismiss as just normal aging. But in many cases, they're actually signs of mercury toxicity. And from a medical perspective, this is one of the most underdiagnosed problems in senior health because doctors aren't routinely testing for mercury levels unless there's an obvious reason to suspect poisoning. What's even more concerning is that mercury interferes with something called methylation, which is a biochemical process that's absolutely critical for heart health and brain function. And when methylation is disrupted, your body can't properly regulate inflammation, it can't repair damaged DNA, and it can't produce the neurotransmitters that your brain needs to form memories and process information. And this is why mercury exposure is linked not just to memory loss, but also to depression, anxiety, and other mood disorders that are so common in seniors. If this information is opening your eyes to the dangers hiding in your diet, hit that like button because I want this message to reach every senior in America who's unknowingly putting their health at risk. But now we need to talk about the most dangerous fish of all, the number one fish that you absolutely must avoid if you value your heart and your brain. And this fish is so commonly eaten, so heavily promoted, so present in American diets that what I'm about to tell you is going to upset a lot of people. But I have to say it because your health is more important than protecting the profits of the seafood industry, and that fish is tilapia. Now I can already hear some of you thinking, wait, tilapia? But tilapia is supposed to be one of the healthy fish. It's everywhere. It's cheap. My doctor never said anything about avoiding it, and that's exactly the problem because tilapia has been marketed as this perfect healthy alternative to red meat. It's sold in every grocery store in America. It's served in restaurants. It's fed to seniors in nursing homes and retirement communities, and it's become one of the most consumed fish in the entire country. But what people don't realize is that most of the tilapia eaten in America, and we're talking about over 80% of it, is imported from fish farms in China and other Asian countries where the farming practices are absolutely appalling. These fish are raised in crowded, polluted conditions. They're fed a diet that's completely unnatural and often includes animal waste. They're treated with antibiotics and chemicals to keep them alive in these filthy environments. And they're grown as quickly as possible to maximize profit without any regard for the quality or safety of the final product. And by the time that tilapia ends up on your plate at your local Walmart or Red Lobster or wherever you're buying it, it's not the healthy protein you think it is. It's actually a toxic mess that's harming your body in multiple ways. But here's what makes tilapia even worse than the high mercury fish I just talked about, and this is something that most people, including many doctors, don't know. Tilapia has an extremely unhealthy ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. And let me explain why this matters, because this is crucial for understanding what's happening inside your body. Omega-3 fatty acids are the good fats that reduce inflammation, that protect your heart, that support your brain function, and that's what you want when you eat fish. But omega-6 fatty acids, while they're necessary in small amounts, actually promote inflammation when you consume too much of them, and tilapia has very little omega-3 and very high omega-6, which means that instead of reducing inflammation like good fish does, tilapia is actually increasing inflammation throughout your entire body. Inflammation is at the root of almost every chronic disease we deal with as we age. It's what damages your blood vessels and leads to heart disease. It's what contributes to Alzheimer's and dementia. It's what causes arthritis and joint pain. It's what accelerates aging at the cellular level. And when you eat tilapia regularly, you're pouring fuel on that inflammatory fire. And research published in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association found that tilapia has a worse omega-6 to omega-3 ratio than bacon, worse than hamburgers, worse than pork, and yet it's being sold as a health food to unsuspecting seniors who trust that what they're buying is good for them. On top of this inflammatory problem, tilapia from these overseas farms often contains residues of banned antibiotics, heavy metals like mercury and cadmium that come from the polluted water they're raised in, and even dioxins, which are cancer-causing chemicals. And when you're over 60 and your immune system isn't as strong as it used to be, and your liver and kidneys are already working hard to keep up with normal aging, adding all of these toxins into your system is putting an enormous burden on your body that it simply can't handle. And this is why I've seen patients who eat tilapia multiple times a week develop heart palpitations, high blood pressure, worsening cholesterol levels, cognitive decline, and chronic fatigue. And when we remove tilapia from their diet and replace it with truly healthy fish, their symptoms improve sometimes within just a few weeks. Write in the comments right now, have you been eating any of these 4 fish regularly? Share your experience, because your story could help other seniors realize they're making the same dangerous mistake. Now I know what you're thinking, Dr. Parker, if I can't eat these fish, what am I supposed to eat? I need protein, I need omega-3s, I need to take care of my heart and my brain, and that's exactly what I'm going to tell you right now, because the solution isn't to stop eating fish altogether. Fish can be incredibly healthy when you choose the right kinds. And there are specific fish that are low in mercury, high in omega-3s, clean, safe, and absolutely perfect for seniors over 60. The first fish I want you to start eating, and this should become a staple in your diet at least twice a week, is wild-caught Alaskan salmon. And I'm very specific when I say wild-caught Alaskan salmon, because this is important. Farmed salmon has many of the same problems as tilapia. It's raised in crowded pens. It's fed an unnatural diet. It often contains antibiotics and chemicals, but wild-caught Alaskan salmon is completely different because these fish live in the cold, clean waters of Alaska. They eat their natural diet of smaller fish and krill, and they develop incredibly high levels of omega-3 fatty acids in their flesh. Wild Alaskan salmon contains 2 specific types of omega-3s called EPA and DHA, and these are the most powerful forms of omega-3 for protecting your heart and your brain, and what they do inside your body is absolutely remarkable. They reduce inflammation in your blood vessels, which prevents plaque buildup and reduces your risk of heart attack and stroke. They improve the flexibility of your arteries, which helps maintain healthy blood pressure. They support the structure of your brain cells, which protects against memory loss and cognitive decline, and they even have mood-boosting effects that can help with depression and anxiety, which are so common in seniors. Studies from Harvard Medical School have shown that seniors who eat wild salmon twice a week have a 35% lower risk of dying from heart disease compared to those who don't eat fish, and research on brain health has found that regular consumption of omega-3 rich fish like salmon is associated with a significantly reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And this makes perfect sense when you understand that your brain is made up of about 60% fat, and a large portion of that is DHA from omega-3s. So when you eat wild salmon, you're literally giving your brain the building blocks it needs to stay healthy and function properly as you age. You can find wild-caught Alaskan salmon at most grocery stores, including Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Costco, and even Walmart now carries it in the frozen section. And yes, it's more expensive than tilapia or farmed salmon. But when you think about the cost of medications, doctor visits, hospital stays, and the devastating impact of heart disease and dementia, investing in high-quality fish is one of the smartest things you can do for your health.